Hello, everyone. So it is Monday again. Can you believe it? I can't believe how fast the weekend went. Actually, I can't believe how fast time is going sometimes. So here we are with another animal message for the week for you to ponder. And yeah, I'm just going to share it with you right away. The card that I pulled this morning, and I sat with it for a little bit, made some notes, I did a little research, and yeah, I'm excited to share this with you today. So it's from my Animal Reflections Healing Oracle, and it is Kingfisher and Seeker. So when I was creating my deck, um, I was part of a group of, I think it was mostly women that were either creating an oracle deck or a tarot deck. And I became so inspired by some of the women in the group that were doing tarot decks that I decided to incorporate into my Animal Reflections Healing Oracle the 21 major arcana from the tarot. So Kingfisher represents, in the tarot, it is known as the Fool or the Seeker. And I decided to have Kingfisher as my seeker, starting out. So in the tarot, the Fool is, starting out on your path in life to see where it is going to take you. And so when I created this card, I have the Kingfisher looking up to the cosmos and to the North Star, and encouraging us to think about the path and where we want to go in our lives. So how does this relate to where we are now and the message for the week? And I really sat with this and I thought, what it had meant perhaps at one time and what I feel it is representing now. And of course, that can always shift and change, and it depends on your particular situation as well. But I'm looking at this as the collective. And so, right away, when I pulled this card, what stood out to me was the seven yellow dots. And so, seven in numerology represents magic and creativity, a variety of other things too. But what stood out to me is the magic and creativity because that's in relation to, following our own path, following our own North Star. So maybe you're in a place right now where you're rethinking that and what does that look like for you? And I think as a collective, many of us are looking at that, what perhaps did we once believe and now, there's new light coming, there's new awareness coming into our consciousness and maybe what does that mean for us now? And over the weekend, I was part of I'm a part of a monthly astrology group. I'm not an astrologer. I've taken an introduction class to it, but I'm fascinated by astrology and being in tune with the energies that are always moving through the galaxy, moving through each of us. And during that class, somebody shared a quote that I don't know who the person is that said the quote, but that there is no path. You make the path as you go along. And as a collective, and what I just said, I feel that this is something for us to ponder this week. Because I think for so long, I think about in my own life, when I graduated high school, and at that time it was said, you have to go on to college, you have to know what you want to do for the rest of your life. And so that was ingrained in my brain. And there was no thought process of just follow the threads, just follow your joy, follow your creativity and see where it takes you. That just wasn't something that was talked about. And I think we're starting to understand that more and more. I'm trying to get the Kingfisher to stand up straight here. um, so I just feel like that is something for us to ponder. Maybe you're thinking about changing careers. Maybe you're thinking about doing your life differently. But you might be stuck in this old belief system that, well, if I do that, what are people going to think? What if I go off a path that, culture or society doesn't say that's the way to go? But that's what we're being called to do. To seek that which what path brings us joy? What path leads to our special, unique gift and creativity. Um, and then the 7 dots, as I said, is magic and creativity. What is your magic that you can bring to the world? And or just bring into your own life. You don't necessarily have to bring it out to the bigger collective. Just by being you, being your true self, you're adding to the collective. It's a given. It's an absolute given. Again, something I don't think we were taught. So the color yellow represents the chakra, the solar plexus, which is about stepping into our own power. And it's got the map in the background. Again, just following, just being curious and staying open of where you want to go on your path. You know, what sparks joy? What sparks curiosity? What is that little niggle or that little nudge you've been feeling that you've been wanting to do or to research or to explore, but something has held you back? I feel like this Kingfisher is encouraging you this week to step into that knowing and follow that and just see where it takes you. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Something just very minor for me. I've been wanting to get back to cross stitch probably for the last year or so. I've been feeling like I wanted to cross stitch. Do you know what was holding me back? I can't see. Because the pattern is small and the stitching is small. And then I did a little research and I found they're not these, but I found some magnifying glasses with a little light on them. Oh my gosh, I can totally see what I'm doing. I look really stupid wearing the glasses, but I don't care. Nobody sees me but my husband. He doesn't care either because he knows it's making me happy, and that's all that matters. So, yeah, that's an easy, simple example. But I really love that. There is no path. You make the path as you go along. And it reminds me of something else I had heard many, many years ago about just following the threads in our life. Where does that thread lead to? Because if you follow one thing, it usually goes to another, and you're just following your own path and what feels right to you. So something interesting about Kingfisher is that they are very territorial, and they will defend itself against what it feels threatened by. And when we look at this as seeker and following our own path, I think a lot of us have felt threatened by outside sources, outside authority, outside leadership that may not have always had our best interest in mind. But I think it's really important to defend what feels right for our path, because you are the one that has to live in your body and in your heart and in your mind. And if you are happy following a particular path, then follow that path. That by default will add a positive vibration to the collective. Now, also in Polynesia, the bird is considered sacred and it represents control over the seas. And seas is associated with water, of course, and water is connected to our emotions. So when we are out of balance and we are trying to, I just think about, as a society, we bought into this belief that we had to keep up with the Joneses. Isn't that exhausting? That's just coming into my head now. I just did an interview with somebody it'll be out in October, and we talked about that is just absolutely exhausting. But Kingfisher is encouraging us to seek that which makes us happy, not necessarily what the neighbors are doing or our friends are doing. Just to be, just to follow the crowd. Let's find what makes each of us uniquely happy and bring that to the world, bring that to our lives. So I just really feel like that's what Kingfisher is inviting us to look at this week, to tap in again to our own knowing and to follow that, because that is when you're going to be the happiest, right? I think about, again, when I went to technical college, and I didn't know what I wanted to go for. So I loved clothing then. I loved fashion, so I went for fashion merchandising marketing. But in the end, I just did that because I thought that's what I had to do. And yeah, it did serve a purpose. It's not like it was a waste of time. Some of that came in handy in my life, so it's never a waste of time. I just think we're being encouraged to really seek that which makes us truly happy instead of buying into a societal or a cultural thought or belief. So I have this big, it's almost like an encyclopedia book of different animals. And I turned to that today too because I felt like this message goes along with the kingfisher. So it says old stories tell us the kingfisher wasn't always green and blue, but a drab of gray. One tale begins with the great flood, and when Noah released the kingfisher from the ark, it flew upward, focused on the sky and sun. The kingfisher's feathers gradually turned in the same blue as the sky, which is a hue associated with wealth, peace, and gentle love. Oh, isn't that beautiful? And gentle love. Other colors seen on kingfishers include yellow, representing the sun, pink, representing friendship, and purple, representing royalty and the higher self. So I just wanted to bring that in too because I love with the purple and focusing on our higher self because our higher self knows what is best for us, not some outside source. And then our higher self in connection with however you define God, source, universe, cosmos, in connection with that. And when we stay in connection with our higher self and connection with God, source, universe, that's what's going to take us on the path that is right for each of us. So let's all shine our beautiful colors this week and start seeking that which makes us happy and brings us joy. And just share that with, the community of people we're with. Maybe you're going to bring it out there in a larger way, but whatever it is, it matters and you matter. Your joy matters. Your magic matters. So go out and find that creativity, that little niggle. I'm sure you've had that little niggle that's been niggling at you that you've been wanting to try or something you've been wanting to do. And if you feel like sharing reflections on what Kingfisher means for you, I'd love to hear it in the comments below or any other reflections you may have on the message as well. All right, everybody, have a great week, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.